There's a big military helicopter circling around out there away from my house. Cause you suck. You suck. If you made me depressed and want to kill myself 4 or 5 times, it is sucked. Let's see if we can get this cool military helicopter on plane and on camera. Where is that? Look, right overhead. It's a helicopter. It's not a. It may not be a military helicopter. Where is it? Where is it on camera? There it is. Directly overhead, flying right overhead with a pretend dick. I had enough of this. I had to lean backwards, and it was like I was putting my penis forth. Like it was so awkward, and I didn't feel bad about it that time, and I just filmed the helicopter anyway. Here's what I had to do today. I had to have my dad as a boss while he was being the boss of these men who did this tremendous work that took them like a week or two to show up. And when they finally showed up, they did the work of what I would have done by myself in a week or two. They did it in one day or in a few hours with 3 men and 1 woman. 1 woman, praise God, praise Jesus. And the entire time they're doing it, it was difficult. It was really difficult for me. I was having to interact with them, and it was like I did not feel this good. I did not feel this good. I did not feel this good as I do in the video. Here's what it felt like to me. I can't even show it on camera how difficult it was. I gave up the will to live. I gave up to do something godly and good, and to get along with them well enough that they did really good work. They did all the work, the physical work, and I had to interact with them. I had to interact with them. I don't know what it showed. My house was trying to show me, and it felt like shit. My face looked way older. My body felt and looked way older. I was doing this around shit like that. It made me want to die. It almost killed me right then, with like taking my breath away to have to do that. And 3 times when I was inside, I had to go back inside. I got the feeling of what I was supposed to do from God and Jesus. And 3 times, with all the might, heart, strength, and energy I had, I couldn't keep doing it. I couldn't keep doing it after it's been 20 years working for my father at full-time hours. Full-time hours, 20 years, 5 hours and 40 minutes a day, 5 days a week, with some holidays, for 20 years. For 20 years. I added up all the hours starting in the year 2015, or the end of 2014. And it felt like shit today, even though it was kind and good and godly, but I could not hang in. There's this huge stuff they were doing, and I gave up and hoped to die with all my heart, soul, like at least 3 times. Well, 3 times I know, really bad. Imagine my whole head breaking off, with my head being torn off, and sitting there on the ground, because I wasn't supposed to come out here, and I was supposed to just sit in a chair and let them work. And I had to feel all these different ways that were so difficult to do, so that they could get this work done. They did this huge amount of work to get that trash out of there so the house can sell. That would have taken me a week or two to get this work done. And I had done some of the work, and they hauled away some of it. They hauled some of it away in their truck. And it was beautiful. It was good. It was God's work. It was a relentless effort. And it felt like shit to me to have to go through that kind of shit that made my face look bad, my body feel bad, made me hope to die with all my soul. At least 3 times, maybe 5 times. And it was beautiful and good. It was God's work, but I gave up. I couldn't keep doing that stuff. My films haven't paid the bills for like, I want to show my face right now. It feels like shit that I've had to. It has felt not that good here for I don't want to talk about it. This is some porta potty or whatever. This is the thing that was off my that was off my truck that the guy can keep. He has a truck. It may fit on his truck. He's just. I'm gonna see if he wants to keep it. Of course, this is awful. One of the windows broke out. That sucks. I don't know how that happened. He can keep it if he wants to. This looked really good. This just was upside down. This was upside down. It went to my cool giant redneck truck I used to drive. It was really cool. It was like a Ford F-250 or something, or F-150. I don't even know which one it was. And it was cool. It was kind of cool. It was like a huge truck that was like a monster truck. Almost not really a monster truck, but it was almost that big. It was not really as big as a monster truck. It was cool though. I thought it was kind of cool, but it wasn't that Red Hot Chili Peppers one. But the guys who are here are like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Because I was inside and there's like a poster and they got to look that way. And I just couldn't do it. And I wasn't allowed to feel good about stuff like that. And I had to like stand up for them and believe in them in all these various godly good ways so that they could get the work done. They hauled off a bunch of it. This is huge, well, pretty huge pile of trash besides this well. This is a really good well. I had to offer them water. They said they could go inside and use the bathroom and drink water or get anything from the refrigerator. It was so difficult to talk to actually tell them they could go in that door, and then I had to in that bathroom because that one smelled like somebody took a crap in it. I don't know why. And then the smell went away, and they had to, when it was all okay to go in there, I had to. That was so hard to talk to them because my dad is their boss, and he's this guy's boss who works for my dad sometimes. And all this stuff, all this beautiful, good, amazing work got done. They got this stuff out from like from this I'd like to zoom out better, from this pile of trash. Just a good pile. It was a pile of trash. Now it's like dirt and this trash. There's a light, no motor in, I think, refrigerator that they can carry out. There's another one like that I carried in a video. I carried it a bunch of it to there, and so if I could carry that, that's about the same. I carried a huge stove. It wasn't really that heavy at all because it's like so old, and it wasn't like carrying a real huge refrigerator. It has the doors taken off, so they can carry that up this hill. That's the point I was trying to fucking say. To actually, I don't mean to curse. There's none of that cursing. There's nothing bad. It was godly and good work for them to be able to get most of this trash out. That from the 1960s, I think. From when they made this is just regular art, and this metal art that they could have made art with. And that's why it was in this pile. But it was some of it, like if a little kid fell on it, which I don't know why they ever would have gone down to it. It's possible, and so it's better. It was actually just junk, so they got most of it. And there's some tarps in there. How crazy that I would actually try to say, well, it's actually a good tarp. I can cover up the wood. There's firewood. There's firewood here I can use. But they got all this junk. Look at all this, and they got all this out of that huge pile, and that stuff from like way down in the, well, kind of down in the woods, and they're getting rid of all the junk. It took him like a week or two to show up or so, and he showed up and did most of it in one day or in a few hours with 3 other people. And so thank God I had this tarp, because I'm going to use it to cover up some of the firewood. This is pretty good, because they also got rid of this firewood another time. I think it was a week ago, maybe a few days ago, I don't know. But here's this tarp. And dragging. Well, that wasn't real dragging. I don't ever, dress and drag unless it's a funny thing for like an acting thing I thought was funny on a stage. This other guy, afraid of that. So this is actual firewood that I don't want to throw it away and have it covered up with water and have it go bad. So get the stick out of the way. This could actually be okay firewood. I'm gonna cover this up. I threw this stuff down here. They moved. They moved like a cow for somebody. But somebody use them for emotional or stuff for money. I could talk about that more, but that's something I was thinking about. How my mom, I didn't know it, but I was using her as a cow for money, and I invested it, and I worked really hard on this home, and right now this guy bought it for 3 times what I bought it for because I worked so hard on it and put any money that I spent into food that I had to eat, pretty much, and good food, and working on this house, making it in better condition. It's a mansion. That siding doesn't really match up with there, but there's green siding on there, so it kind of matches up. And I have the other yellow siding for it if somebody wants to change it. This guy bought it for $320,000. It's literally a mansion on 9 acres. And it should be worth $740,000 or $800,000 or $1.2 million. I don't know why it's selling for only $320,000. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why. And I'm covering up this firewood, so if somebody buys the house, they can so I had to do I actually had to work really hard in the house for 7 years full-time hours on just this house. 7 years full-time hours, and that was my job. And I made the house go up in value. That piece of wood looks like crap. Ooh, gross, disgusting. I don't know. So I covered up some of the wood because they thought it was throwaway wood, but some of it can be used if I have to. Like in an emergency, I can use some of that wood. So that's pretty good. But who cares? It's like maybe save $200 at most, or $100. Or people who cut their own firewood, it saved like all the work of having to cut their own firewood. The cost of gas, $4, $2. And so this is the garbage they got rid of. And that is not garbage. That is a huge building for storage, and it lets light in. That's actually see-through. It lets light in. If that's cleaned off, it'll let more light in. Somebody can paint the roof. It's a really cool building, and I can put a green screen in there. I can actually build one, but all Al's stuff is in it, so it's worth a bunch of money, his stuff. But I can put a green screen in there. It has tall ceilings. That's another building on this land. And that was this junk. They carried it out. It's a miracle. And they brought it to here. I don't want to breathe too much of it in because there's some that was just like been in the dirt for a long time. And so they got all this stuff. They will show you from the start. Here's all the stuff and the stuff they brought to the dump. You got all this stuff If you see what kind of stuff I had to go through to do work, it's really kind of stupid. It's horrifying. I don't know, but it's not that bad. It has been horrifying to have to work before. I've literally seen hell and had to go out there and work in what I thought was hell for 3 months. And I was afraid to tell anyone about it for at least 3 or 4 years, and I still haven't told anyone what I saw 100%. But I told most of it. I told them most of it. They got this cheap old. I was gonna kick it, but they'd probably get crap on me. I'm not even gonna touch it. But it hasn't had crap on it for probably like 30 years or 20 years or 40 years. And that's actually the top of my truck that I sold, and I didn't. The wind had blown it. One time it got really windy, or somebody got angry and threw it down into those woods. Not me. And so I couldn't bring it back up. So when I had to sell my truck because the engine stopped working, I don't want to go near that. No one has crapped on that for 40 years. Why would there be crap on it? Anyway, I'm going to go away from it. And it was not easy, and I hoped to die at least 3 times today for how difficult it was to interact with him, with my dad as the boss. And even if I was the boss, it would make me feel so bad to do any more of what I had to do starting in 2015 or at the end of 2014, having to work at those homes sometimes, I just don't like doing it anymore. Like in this house, the one thing that other men really got hired to do are these gutters that I didn't want to do myself. And there's other work I did that I'm not going to say what I did and what other people did, but these guys who painted the house are really good at painting. They're really good at painting. They painted the outside of the house, just the outside. They worked here a couple or 3 weeks. I worked on the place 7 years full time, but they worked about 3 weeks full time, 2 weeks maybe, or 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. I don't know. Maybe not as many hours, but maybe like full time for a week or two to do that work. But it's not the same as it's about the same as like 2 or 3 weeks of my actual labor if I was doing the labor myself or something like that. So they painted all of this trim on the outside of the house. It looks really good. Most of the trim of the entire house on the outside. And I did most of the labor myself of 7 years full-time work on this one home. So no matter what the place is worth, it wasn't easy. So they were working at painting or something else for probably that money, that however much money they make, and unless the kid was a kid back then, because 2 of the kids who painted were like, well, one was 19 and one was 20. One was 19 and one was 20. So they haven't been working 7 years. They're only kids. And their dad has probably worked a bunch, but this is really strong. My dad's that was not a hair. Thank the Lord in heaven. No. Thank the Lord in heaven that wasn't a bear's. Who knows what they look like? They don't really look like a human being when they're getting naked and butt wild in the woods. I know. And so this is really strong. Thank God. My dad's man who works for him, John Birch. He's this guy who's the one he did like the stuff like this that wasn't as easy to do, or somebody. I'm not going to say who. He did the work, and so and he did the work. John Birch, and maybe somebody else did or helped him. I don't know how they're going to say I don't know what they're, how they, I don't know, but John Birch did it, I think. As far as I know, he was up here doing this, and this looks like his work. So he's a genius. He's a genius at being an electrician and doing stuff like this. This is pretty strong. This is really strong. This is goes down into the deck. That's pretty cool. That's pretty good that he did that work. And then he put this one here. It's like, I don't know. He put this one on here. He put this one on here. There. And this is the guest house. And they've been doing the work. They've been doing the work the past few weeks. I haven't had to do the work. I did paint that door. I painted that door and that door. It's like I haven't really done much work here for the past 3 or 4 weeks. But for 7 years, I did full-time work, most of the labor myself, for full-time hours for 7 years just on this house. And then the house before this one, I worked 12 hours a day for a year, for no no days off besides one day before the year was done. I took one day off and worked 12 hours a day on average on this other house. And I got it in good enough condition to where it passed all the inspections, and it sold for a really good price back then, which is only $155,000. But now it might be worth $300,000 or at least 280 now. The prices went way up. So I'm not going to talk about that because who the heck knows why this beautiful mansion on 9 acres is selling for I don't know. It's really cool. It's a really cool house. This statue is cool. I was gonna bring this with me wherever I live. I'd probably get to live in if I have to move in like a little a small house in Los Angeles. It's really small. I don't know. and like a but this is I don't know who that is, but you don't, that's a saint, but you don't, that's okay to have a statue of one as long as you don't pray to them. Because people take pictures on Facebook. They make statues of people, and it's just art. It's a sculpture and art. As long as you don't pray to it, that is not God or Jesus, I think. So don't ever pray to one of those unless it's God or Jesus, who is somewhere else. You don't really pray to the statue of Jesus, but you pray to God and Jesus, and that's just how it is. And here's a statue of Mary. And you never pray to Mary unless you're asking people in heaven, is there some way, you don't really pray to them. You don't worship them. You don't worship them like God or Jesus. You don't worship them like God or Jesus. You worship God and Jesus, and that's the only people you worship. Unless there's some obscure definition of worship that means something a little bit different, and maybe in God's way. And God can do anything. God can do anything because he's so beautiful, and we can't understand. We're not supposed to get the glory for what he does. He gets all the glory because he's so beautiful and good that he can turn something that looked like it was sinful, that if he did it, it would be beautiful and good and godly. And he is really good. He is really godly and good because he is God. He's kind to others. He gives. He never takes, I think, unless God has some way to take. That would mean something good, of course, if he did it. And he's so brilliant. He has so much more knowledge, and probably has an infinite IQ of, beyond anything that we can comprehend, because he knows every tiny little detail of everything on the earth at all times, in the past, present, and future. he has all the knowledge of anything that ever existed. Like some gross little bug went in there and I didn't film it, and I didn't say that, and I wasn't supposed to because God didn't want me to. I had a feeling that was wrong, so I didn't film the bug because I had been filming bugs, and somebody would have thought, is that what you do? You're not nice to humans. And they thought maybe I was nice to animals and little bugs and probably some little peon little way. But the reality is that I like going out there and playing music. I could play to a crowd of 80,000 right now. I could play to a crowd of 80,000 right now and just have a guitar and a microphone to sing, and I'd improvise the music right now. And I'm gonna wash my hand. I'm gonna wash my hand because I touched this weird branch. It looked like a giant beast of a bear's peas. I don't know. It looks gross. I don't like any of that stuff. Of course, there's no. You had no idea what you got arrested for. You said you play right now to a crowd of 40,000 people and you're trying to wash your nonsense tricks of shit. And someone's bear that he just had an anxiety about and didn't even hurt his throat. A trick. Is that a trick that you said trait? And you try to do shit like that? Just don't play any music. Because Marty nerd. No, because don't say the N-word, but if you don't fit in with our fucking ways, and you start dancing like Axl Rose like this, you know what you would do? I don't know. I wiped the screen off. White. Okay. Of course, try to act like I'm a fag, feeling on my ass just to even try to show myself on camera or look okay. And so I didn't want to feel like I was about to fucking die just because of the way I am. Unless I can learn some way to look bad and feel healthy and good inside. And, you know, I'm sure I've done that before too, but I wouldn't like to see myself on video or see myself looking bad because it would just feel so awful. It might feel like I'd just die. Because there's some things that make me happy and feel good. And do I look like shit? I would have had it stopped on my face looking like shit from a low angle. This is a bad angle, dude. Looking bad and feeling bad to work at my dad's stuff and whatever they fucking think that you have to work at in regular parts of the country where they only allow people who are already fucking famous to play at their huge ass fucking stages, and it feels like they've looked down on my work in film and videos. They're making me have a runny sounding nose like I jacked off to some goddamn teen or some shit, like I'm a little porn person when I try to raise my voice, or some shit like, yeah, porn guys, or some shit like that. And it feels like shit.